So today marks the 1 year release of Duel. It came out at about 7:35 in the morning at random, and now it's time to go through the last year Duel. How good was it? What was the best parts, the highlights, the good things, the bad things, what I'd like to see in the future, and also, is it worth playing in 2023? Let's dive right in. So I'm going to structure this review into different parts, right? I'll have them all timestamped down below so you can go to each one. And I'm just going to talk about the certain modes, the events, the card releases, the packs, the boxes, all that kind of thing. So, let's start with the solo modes. Now these are your PvE content and they're fine for the most part, right? There's a little bit of story, there's a couple of duels, some rewards, some gems, some sleeves, some playmats potentially, some icons, and that's it. Now my favourite ones by far were the DM and GX Duels challenges. Those were quite fun. The World Legacy ones were really good as well because they were quite long. There's two parts of it and they're very long. And also the B-Trooper one because that tied in with a card release, a new box, and I like it when they cross-promote things, right? It gives me a reason to go into the new pack and also go to the solo mode and see if I enjoy the deck. And so I hope they do that more. Go to the future. We know there's a ton of solo modes yet to be released, like Ice Barriers, the Mecha Phantom Beast, for example, that might not come because of real-world situations, but we'll have to wait and see. But there's a ton still to come, and of course more we don't know about yet. So overall, solo modes are a good thing so far, but I think they could be improved by being a bit more fleshed out in terms of story and more to do. Because if we get one a month, then I'd like that content to be a bit more significant than it currently is. Next, let's go on to ranked PvP. Now, this is the bread and butter mode of Duel. It's what you play 99% of the time, and it's had two real changes in the last year. The first one was making it so that you played with people in the same rank tier as you, so like, Gold 1, Gold 2, rather than the whole of Gold. And that was a good welcome change. I like it. There was also another rank, Diamond, added, and this didn't do as much people kind of hoped, right? People thought that more ranks coming would make the game better, and it just kind of prolonged the rank season, and I guess it gives you more to work for, right? But to me, a ranked season or a ranked ladder requires a ranking, and in this game, in Duel Links, you don't get that. In Cross Duel, you kind of get that in a way, but you don't get that at all in Duel Links and Duel. The Duelist Cup, that gives you a ranking. I think that system should be in the actual rank system, the standard rank ladder, and hopefully there will be an elo system at some point, right? There's been leaks that kind of hint towards that, which would be kind of cool. But at the moment, ranked is fine, you do it for your daily gems, and that's kind of how I approach it. It's just it's a thing you do, it's okay, it's best of one. I don't mind that, I kind of prefer that to best of three because my time is limited, and so I'd like to get in and get as many games as possible, and best of one allows me to do that. So I quite enjoy the format of ranked, at least in that respect. Alongside that is of course the Banlist card updates that happened to the game over the course of the year. We've had about 5 or 6 Banlists so far since release, and the majority of them came in August, September, October, and they're on like a monthly cadence. And that was very cool, right? Having a monthly update, and then they kind of stopped doing that. The Duelist Cup kind of threw things through a loop, and we'll see what they do this year, right? If they go back to that pattern, or if they switch things up again. They came in, did some little tiny hits, month to month, and then sometimes there'll be a bit of a bigger one, but the monthly Banlist was so fresh because it meant that it was kind of a mini update to the game in of itself, right? A Banlist can be a content update if done right, and Konami were doing it right for a good chunk of that part of the year. The first part of the year was just kind of feeling the flow about it, but the second half on the monthly Banlists was great. Please go back to that, that was fantastic. Of course, there's some things that people want to see hit that aren't being hit, right? There's some problem cards that are in the game still. Runic needs a hit at some point, right? It's a very toxic deck. Of course, people want to see Sword Soul and Branded just because of popularity, but I think that they'll stay for a while now. But overall, Banlists have been fine. Not as drastic as Duel Links ones have been, right? Those are pretty game-changing, but in general, the card updates have been okay. But also the alternate modes. We've got Casual Mode and the Team Battle. These are pointless. They're pointless to have in the game because there's no reason to play them, right? There's no rewards tied to them, there's no Legacy Pack tickets or gems or whatever. It would be better if they perhaps put play 5 team battles behind a mission, for example, and gave you some gems for doing so. That would make it see play. Or they could put some exclusive rewards behind it, right? So an exclusive icon or mate or playmat or something, right? To give it a reason to see play. And at the moment, they don't see play. And I hope that because Konami has been experimenting, right, with bringing these new formats in, I hope it means that down the line in the next year we get things like a draft mode or a classic mode that's kind of permanent that people would play if there is a reason to do so. Draft mode kind of gives you a reason by itself. It's a complete different format, right? It's not like just hashed another format, but also classic mode will also be another format, but again, it needs to have rewards. It needs to have a reason to play for people to not just play over ranked, because otherwise, what is the point? If you're being punished for not playing ranked because you can't get gems to level up your account and to buy packs, then you're being worthed as a lesser player to Konami. It's a bit weird, right, in that respect. I think that's how I see it anyway. So yeah, just more focus on alt modes, give them rewards going into next year would be fantastic. But mainly they've been focused on quality of life improvements, making sure the UI is fast and new features and stuff, so I can kind of get behind it, but we'll have to see what they do into 2023 and beyond. But now on to the events, the second bread and butter of Master, right? These come around once a month, and they've been very hit and miss. Sometimes they've been very good, sometimes they've been very boring and very bad. At the start there was some issues, right, with rewards for the festival events and how long it took you to beat them, and the fact you could just auto-surrender, right, and then just win and get a reward in like a day, and it was super quick. And now they've changed it, they've made the event structure a bit better, the loan index have improved, they've added a new format in it with the regulation duel, which I think is fine for an event that wasn't the Link one. Like any other event would have been fine, but the Link one was just kind of a bit too much like ranked, so it's just kind of like playing ranked 2. But overall, the events have been fine. Of course, the more unique ones, right, like limit ones or NNR Variety Festival, those are my favourites. The ones that limited extra deck weren't really my favourites, and the Duelist Cup is just taken straight from Duel Links, and there's no real rewards behind that either. Like there's no Worlds invite that really show you were the best player. They could have done a lot more with those events, I think, and I'd like to see them do more with that. Now, reward-wise, is a kind of a mixed bag as well for these events. I personally think that each event, if they're doing a themed event, should have an icon, a sleeve, and a mate, a minimum to kind of go along with the event. Like this current one we got, the Theme Chronicle, is a cool event concept, right? You know, playing with solo mode decks and archetypal decks, and some decks aren't allowed, and it's cool. But the only unique rewards are a title and 2 icons. Now, icons are fine, but if every event had a unique sleeve and a unique mate, for example, right? Like, so like, let's go back to the Synchro Festival, right? They could have done a really cool Stardust themed mate, for example, and a Shooting Star Dragon themed sleeve, for example, with like the Synchro Festival branding on it, and it would have been a unique reward. And I think they need more of that to make them more exciting, because at the moment they're just gem farms, and I guess that's a good thing for free-to-play players, but already the game is so generous with gems, even though they have kind of reduced them in recent months, but overall you're still getting thousands of gems a month, you're getting more than you do in Duel Links, you're getting more packs than you do in Duel Links, and so it's a good system overall. But let's go on to the card releases, of course, the big one. Master Duel's weird custom format of being half OCG, half TCG, and then of splitting the card pools and mixing things around. I really like it. Now, of course, I'm a big fan of Dark Magician, and we've not had Illusion of Chaos and the other DM support from that set for 6 months now. Yeah, it's been 6 months since Battle of Chaos started coming, and we've not got it. Now, the theory, the running theory, is we'll get it for the anniversary, which should be in early February. Now, I hope that's right, but at the same time, I like this custom format they're doing now. At the start of the game, they were just kind of being trailing behind OCG TCG, right, and they were doing certain card releases in OCG order, and they're still doing that to a degree, but they're now mixing things up and introducing sets from further on to kind of give decks more support than they had on release, right? So take Scareclaw, Branded, or the new Theron archetype, they all got support from the next box onwards, and so this will carry on into the next releases, and I quite like that. And especially with the release now of Circular, right, that came out, and in the TCG OCG, that card was overshadowed by Sprite and Tier Elements in the same box, and when those come to Master Duel, they will overshadow literally everything else, and so I like them kind of holding on to them and releasing things earlier to give Master Duel a bit of a more unique metagame, at least for a couple of months, right, until they do bring these powerhouses out, and that is the next big thing, right, in Master Duel, is Sprite, Tier Element, and a Shizu, and it could go horribly wrong or horribly right, because those cards altogether might put off people from the game. And so I think that when those cards do come, if they do make as big of an impact as people are thinking, then there's got to be something else for people to do, and I think that's where Classic Mode comes in clutch. And I hope they're doing it, I really hope they are doing it, because that will then give people another avenue to play Master Duel without having to see these powerhouse cards and be more alienated, I think, from the game than people might be currently feeling. But that's just a niche case scenario, right? But Tier Elements, Sprite, Shizu, interesting to see what they do going forward, because the rest of the cards releasing in that period are more anime-themed archetypes, right? Having to balance that is going to be interesting. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tier Elements come out first of all, with all the support up till Darkwing Blast, and then maybe you get a month break, and then the month after, you've then got your Sprite cards, or a Shizu, and then the month after, you've then got your other cards, and like, just giving a break, making things not come into the game at the same rate that the OCG TCG is a huge change of pace, even if it does mean we are waiting for certain cards like Dear Note, like Illusion of Chaos. It sucks, but at the same time, it's kind of cool, and I'm more on the kind of cool side than the suck side, honestly. And finally, the shop. One of the biggest things Konami had going for them, going into this game, was to be able to sell you on accessories and bundles and structure decks, and they've done a really poor job of this, at least in the first half of the year, right? The second half of the year, they seem to really just hit their stride, right? They're releasing new packs, they're bringing out accessories that kind of relate to those packs, they were doing more than one drop a month, the stuff wasn't seemingly going to be random, it was kind of all themed, and it made sense. The bundle deals were very good, right? You know, getting your new Nibiru, and your Droplet, and your Ash. Wait, not Nibiru, because Nibiru never came. That one's been in the game files for months now, it's not here yet. I hope they continue doing it going forward, but that might be an anniversary drop, or might be something they're just saving on for later, because they're seeing that people are just buying them up already, and they want to just like kind of stagger them out, which is fine. Bundles are fantastic for new players, they're cheap, they get you a guaranteed card, it's great. Structure decks as well. That is something, again, they've improved going forward into the year, right? The first structure deck, the Galaxy one, was not the best. The Subluck one came out and was a bit better, and then the ones going forward, Salmon Greats, Dragon Maids, Spellbooks, they've all been very good. They've all been like 500 gems, insane value for money, right? Getting Silent Mining or getting the whole Dragon Maid core, the Salmon Great core. It's just like, it's so good value, and the fact they're not paywalling it behind like a second or third copy, like doing Duel Links, which is really bad, is incredible. So overall, good stuff for the shop, right? Accessories, they could do more with, right? They should be more mates and more fields and more sleeves coming at the regular cadence, but they're getting better with that, and they probably could have charged more. Now, they are doing more of these, right? They're doing some of the mate backgrounds, and they're doing the mate bases, and they're kind of bringing in more in, and so I think going forward, you'll see them actually put more focus on the shop and releasing more stuff. The fact this game is so free-to-play friendly is incredible, you know? Every month you're getting 6,000 to 7,000 gems, if not more, if you're playing ranked every day and you want dailies. That is a huge amount of gems, a huge amount of packs, but that's kind of offset by the recent trend for card releases to make them more expensive, right? You're seeing packs released with like multiple URs in the same deck. It kind of feels like Flunderies was the tipping point, right? They released Flunderies as so cheap, and that deck kind of took over the ladder. And it's kind of similar to Sylvans in Duel Links. That deck was in the mini box, it was so cheap, it was meta relevant, and then after that, things kind of got more expensive, and it feels like the same tipping point happened in this game. And given we've got the crafting system, and it's as good as it is, I think it's fine for now, but it could get worse going forward. And it kind of hurts the rogue decks more than the meta decks, because meta decks, people expect, sure, you're playing Branded, you're playing Sword Soul, that's going to be a ton of URs. But if you want to play Libromancers, or you want to play some anime deck, then them also being all ultra rares, pretty much, is a slap in the face. It's hard to justify going into these rogue cards, these non-top tier cards, when they're so expensive. And also, that's a problem they're going to have going forward with the Shizu and Telements, because those are going to be the best decks in the format, and they will make every other card released around them, until the cards are out of the metagame, look like a bad value. And then going forward, we've got Kashtira coming afterwards. And so, it all kind of is meshing together that this next year might be, if Konami want this game to survive and to be widely played still, it might be that we see a drastic change from how we're expecting it to be. It might be that we see Telements come, and then we might see Sprite come in 4 months' time. And by the time Telements have kind of been phased out by Banlists or whatever, Sprite have come in and are a new best deck. It could be something like that. We don't know, but it's exciting to see. And is it worth playing Master in 2023? Of course, why not give it a go? It's free. I have high hopes for the game, more so than I do for Crossduel, I'll say that much. They've done a lot right this past year. We're expecting a core app update in early February. It's usual every few months, and this brings new features, new modes, and so with the anniversary kind of being around the same time, we're hopeful, at least, that this will be a big time day for Master, a big period for Master where they just kind of go all out. I hope I'm right. If I'm not, we'll see. But let me know down below your thoughts on Master for the past year. Have you been enjoying it? Have you not been enjoying it? Are you upset about the lack of Evolution of Chaos and Dino and all these other cards are missing? About the game being behind a TC and OCG? Whichever way you kind of size it up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next Master, Duel Links, or Crossduel video. See you then.